I keep messing up this intro. I'm going to skip it altogether. What's going on, everybody? Welcome. On this channel, we talk about things that are happening in the world of MMA and combat sports. My name's Drew, and today I want to talk about the rematch for what was one of the best fights to happen in 2017 between Cody Garbrandt and Dillashaw. That was one of the best fights, I think, of the year, and I'm really excited for this rematch. I actually just finished filming a video on me rewatching the fight. Before making this video, I wanted to have an informed opinion, and so I rewatched the fight on UFC Fight Pass, and I actually just filmed myself while watching it and just kind of spitballed on what I was thinking. And you can check out that video if you want to rewatch the fight with me. You can check out that video up here if you have UFC Fight Pass, or go find a link and we can watch along together. I have the timestamp in there. And anyway, just something different that I'm trying. You might like it, you might not, but if you like it, let me know. Anyway, in this fight, I want to break down that fight in more detail. I think this is one of the, it's going to be a fantastic fight. The amount of pressure that's been building up, the heat that's generated between these two, the rivalry from their old gyms, the old match that they had where TJ gets dropped, Cody gets dropped by a kick, gets dropped at the end for the TKO. Just, this is why us as MMA fans watch fights. Not only are they exciting fights that end in an exciting stoppage, but they're at this technical ability where it's not just a street fight or a brawl. I mean, there's a time and a place for something like this, but this is like the pinnacle of MMA ability. I think TJ is one of the best fighters to ever fight at 135, if not the best fighter to ever fight at 135. Cody is still the future. He's so young. Well, they're both pretty close in age, but all that to say, like, this is it. This is great. I expect that these guys are going to fight five. This is going to be one of the best rivalries to ever be in MMA, in my opinion. I think they're going to fight a number of times. Not necessarily because I think that Cody wins this fight. We'll get into that. But just because I think you can only deny a fight from them so many times. If Cody continues to rise, TJ continues to rise, I mean, you're going to have them fight again. It is what it is. I in the video where I was rewatching the fight, I remember thinking that the first round between them was actually a little bit more exciting than it was. But what made it exciting was the fact that there was all that pressure. It was actually a little bit more uneventful than I remember. I watched the fight at a Buffalo Wild Wing, and so I remember thinking that the first round was just this war between them, and it really actually wasn't. It was a lot of them feeling each other out, which was really exciting in and of itself, because again, you had that pressure between the two of them. You had Cody releasing the video of him dropping TJ and sparring. Cody's the champion. TJ's so good that you just don't know what's going to happen, and in that first round, TJ does get dropped. And so I remember it as this super exciting round, which it was. I mean, I loved the fight, but the good first half of that first round is really them really feeling each other out, not sure what to think between the two. They obviously had trained together, so they knew what each other were capable of. And it was a lot of range measuring and feeling each other out. But because of that tension, even that for me is enough. Like, I actually am one of the few that found Tyron Woodley versus Wonderboy Thompson to be kind of an exciting fight, because that whole time I'm like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Same thing with Bisping versus Dan Henderson, because Dan kept dropping him. It's like the whole time you're on the edge of your seat. That's what this fight is again for me. This fight could absolutely go either way. If a couple weeks from now, a few weeks from now, Cody's champion, I wouldn't even be a little bit surprised. If TJ beats him, I definitely wouldn't be a little surprised. Like, this fight could go either way. And one of the things that really concerned me in the first fight between the two, and I talk about this a lot in that other video, was like, TJ kind of stood in the pocket with Cody, which I don't think is that's not a good range for him. I want TJ to be more at the kickboxing range. I don't want him in the boxing range. Those are two very different things. I think that in the boxing range, Cody Garbrandt has the advantage. He's got strong power. You can't deny the amount of power that Cody Garbrandt has. And if he just lands a hook on you, you're going to get dropped. And we saw TJ get dropped in that first round because Cody kind of fakes going low. He instead kind of shovel punches high and clips TJ right on the button, and there's not a 135 pounder in the division that's going to take a shot like that from Cody Garbrandt and stay standing. And so as somebody who's a TJ Dillashaw fan, so let's get that out in the open. I'm a big Dwayne Ludwig fan. I like the Bang Muay Thai system. I train at a gym where Bang has come and Dwayne has come and done a seminar, and I appreciate what he's doing. So I lean TJ as far as being a fan, and I'd like to see him win this fight. But what I didn't like to see from him was standing in the pocket and trading with Cody Garbrandt like a Max Holloway would do, or just like, they'll just stand their ground and start throwing punches. Technical brawling, but still brawling. And I don't want to see TJ do that because it's playing with fire. If you play with fire, you're going to get burnt. And if you stand in the pocket and just trade punches, shot for shot and power for power with Cody Garbrandt, you're going to get knocked out or you're going to get dropped. And we saw that in the first round. So I'd like to see TJ stand more at a distance. He does this weird thing where he measures range and he's ducking and he's covering his head and he's really just paying attention there. I want to see him there setting up kicks, throwing more kicks. And instead of, at the end of the fight, they were standing their ground and exchanging punches. And TJ did get the better of that exchange, drops Cody, gets knee on belly, and finishes with strikes on the ground, right? We all know that. What I'd rather see happen for TJ is stand at a distance. He had actually in the second round previously landed a head kick. And that head kick, I think Cody maybe not had fully recovered yet. I'd rather see TJ stand at a distance, land those kicks, hopefully land a head kick, drop Cody, and then do the exact same thing, which is, get knee on belly, control him, and get positional advantage and finish with strikes, as opposed to standing in the pocket and potentially eating his own left hook. I mean, that moment, and I said this before, that moment where they're just standing at those last few seconds of the fight, somebody was going to get dropped. That fight was going to end at the end of that second round. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. When two of those fighters at that level are just going to stand, it was like Carlos Condit versus Dan Hardy. They're just going to stand and exchange punches. Either TJ was going to get dropped or Cody was going to get dropped. And in this fight, Cody got dropped. But that fight was going to end either way. And so I would really like to see TJ be a little bit more cautious about getting into those kinds of exchanges if I want him to win the fight, which I do. Set up those kicks, then get the positional advantage as opposed to standing there and just trying to knock him down. Now, who am I to say anything? It worked, but it's a risky game to play that with Cody Garbrandt. Absolutely. It's much better for him to stay at range and then try and do the same thing. Now, we saw a little bit of wrestling between the two. I expect that Cody Garbrandt is potentially the better wrestler. I still thought TJ was a pretty good wrestler himself, and he is. I actually thought that maybe he was better than Cody. Here's the thing. Cody in the first fight didn't go for any takedowns. TJ was faking takedowns at least, which is positive, right? If you're Cody, you gotta mix it up. You gotta give him a reason to believe that you're going to go for a shot. But TJ wasn't able to take down Cody in that first fight. He went for about 2 takedowns and Cody just stuffed him immediately. Maybe you see in the second fight that Cody thinks he's the better wrestler and he actually goes for some takedowns because that could potentially help him win the fight. Maybe they change their game plan up a little bit. My expectation is that they don't, because he did drop him in that first round. They think, you know what, let's do the same thing, drop him, and actually just finish the job this time. But it would be wise for Cody to actually mix it up a little bit. Again, with the time that he did drop TJ, he did it by faking a hook to the body and going up top. Matt, you see TJ, he actually fakes for the takedown and then throws a high kick. Cody should do the same thing. Fake for the takedown, get TJ to drop his hands to try and get double underhooks and stuff the takedown, and then land some sort of strike in order to wobble or stun or drop TJ. That would be wise. I don't expect that he will. Now, one of the things as a fan of TJ that kind of scared me a little bit about this fight is that both had an extreme amount of confidence coming into that first fight. You see it in Cody just dancing around like immediately. I expected him to wait a little bit, but he just started dancing and doing his thing immediately. You actually see quite a bit of confidence out of TJ, but it just looks differently. When you see Cody or TJ feeling super confident, you see him throwing things like spinning back fists, Superman punches. He threw a number of spinning back fists, setting up things to throw head kicks. I mean, he just looks it's not arrogant, but he's obviously confident in those moments. He's not flat-footed. He is really just mixing it up, staying light on his feet. My fear is that TJ will bring that same confidence that he brought in the first fight, which is great. He should. But then he'll also bring in the confidence of like, well, I already knocked the guy out. Like, I know I can knock this guy out, so I'm just going to do it again. If he takes that confidence too far, then what's going to happen or maybe not what's going to happen, what could happen is he could be little less worried about his defense, and that's a mistake against Cody Garbrandt. Cody Garbrandt can drop him at any moment. And I think that TJ knows that, but if he doesn't remind himself of that, it's going to not be good for him. Again, I think I said this already, but it reminded me of Dan Hardy versus Carlos Condit in that last exchange where they're both just swinging and somebody's going down. TJ shouldn't be so confident that just because he won that exchange like he did last time, that he's going to win that exchange again. He wins that exchange 50% of the time. I was talking with my friend Joe. Joe, if you're watching this video, we were talking on Discord a little bit about this. And if TJ and Cody fight 10 times, it's like TJ wins 6 times and Cody wins 4 or 5 and 5. Like, I mean, these guys, this is such a close fight. It could absolutely go either way. Now, I do remember after rewatching again that TJ was a little less stunned than I originally thought he was at the end of that first round. That he wasn't as rocked as I thought he was. He actually, was almost shooting for a takedown. He did get up and he was still the aggressor. And yes, he was a little wobbly at the end of the first round, but not as much as I thought he was. And so that leads me to believe, after rewatching that fight, TJ felt like I felt like TJ was in the control of the fight more often. And even though he got dropped in that one moment, he felt like while measuring distance, he was implementing his game plan with the exception of that one moment, which is why I think that he's likely to win this second fight. So my official pick is that I expect TJ Dillashaw to win this fight, and I actually expect him to win by decision. You'll see me pick by decision a lot because at this high of a level, they're both so good. I think that this could actually even be a split decision. That's how close this fight could be. I mean, when some people pick that they think that they pick split decision, well, that's kind of silly in the sense that, like, you have the judges aren't split on a split decision. It's that, or the individual judge isn't split. It's that judges disagree with each other. So for me, I'm gonna pick decision for TJ Dillashaw. But I expect that because that first round was pretty close with the exception of TJ getting dropped. Imagine that part's removed. That round is actually extremely hard to predict a winner for. Like, who, if you take out that last little section where TJ gets dropped and they just sort of continue to do the same thing and the round ends, who won the first round? Judges will disagree on who they think won the first round. Multiple judges will disagree. So for that reason, I can see this being 2 rounds easy for Cody, 2 rounds easy for TJ, and 1 round being like, well, who won that? Who can decide? And the judges won't agree on that, and at least one judge will give it to Cody, but the other 2 I could see giving, I don't know. I mean, the fight hasn't happened. I'm really speculating here. I think that TJ Dillashaw will win this fight by decision, but I think it could be close enough, potentially, that judges don't agree on that. What that looks like, I shouldn't speculate on, but I do think that it'll be pretty close. I think fighters will get dropped, but I don't know that they'll finish it. I could see TJ actually not dropping TJ, or what did I just say? I could see TJ not dropping Cody again and just sort of staying at a distance, landing good kicks to the body, landing some kicks to the head. If he drops him again, I think he finishes it like last time. But I think that TJ probably gets dropped at least in 1 round. And if Cody doesn't finish the job, that's where it's going to get really close. That he might win the round, but who knows who wins the fight? This is so close. I love this fight. I love this fight. I wish every card had this fight on it because it's so close. It's the highest level of MMA. The fans on both sides are passionate about it, and anything could happen in this fight, absolutely. Now, there is a statistic online where somebody talks about champions that lose their belt and then get an immediate rematch. The amount of times that they win that fight is staggeringly low. I won't quote the statistic because I can't remember, but in times where the champion had the belt, lose the belt, and then don't take any other fights to go back for a title shot and just get an immediate rematch, it's like, 1 out of 10 times or some ridiculous number, you should look it up, they win again. So with that in mind, it sort of tells us that Cody didn't do what he needed to do to just get maybe a tune-up fight or something to get that confidence back, and it's maybe statistically unlikely that he's going to win the belt back. Look at Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Rose. I expected Joanna to win again, and she still didn't. There's something to be said for getting your mental confidence back, and Francis Ngannou, coming out at 226, did say, you know what, I carried the fear of that first fight against Stipe. I carried that fear into my next fight, and I'm afraid potentially that Cody could do something like that. He didn't get that fight, doesn't get another fight against the contender to just build the confidence up again. He's going right back into the fight. I think at the end of the day, that'll probably be a bit of a mistake that he'll be a little bit more tentative. He'll be a little bit more cautious, and that will allow TJ to dance around and do what TJ does. And ultimately, I think he wins that fight by decision because of that. So it's a great fight. I'm going to be watching it outside. And if you're within the Kitchener sort of area and, we're in touch, let me know. Let's watch those fights together and it'll be great. I'm looking forward to it. So thanks for watching. I always really appreciate it. You can keep an eye out for my full card breakdown on this UFC 227 card. Plus, I'll do a breakdown for Ozdemir versus Gustafsson. That's another great fight. You don't want to miss this card. It's fantastic. And so let me know what you think. Appreciate you watching. Who do you think wins the fight? You can leave a comment in the comment section below or on Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, you can leave a comment on the Facebook video. I always really appreciate just talking to people about the sport. That's why I make these videos. So yeah, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. As always, fight the good fight, and we'll see you in the next video. Hey, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video and listening to me ramble about MMA. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you watching and taking time out of your day to view this content. If you want to see some more videos from me, you can look over here on the right and click on those. Also, if you want to know when I upload new videos, you can subscribe to this channel, or better yet, click the notification bell. And you can also check out my Patreon account. Nah, I'm just messing with you. For real though, give me money.